गुड मॉर्निंग ह्यूस्टन। आर्टिकल 370 ने जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख के लोगों को विकास से और समान अधिकारों से वंचित रखा था। इस स्थिति का लाभ आतंकवाद और अलगाववाद बढ़ाने वाली ताकतें उठा रही थी। अब भारत के संविधान ने जो अधिकार बाकी भारतीयों को दिए हैं, वहां की महिलाओं, बच्चों, दलितों के साथ हो रहा भेदभाव खत्म हो गया है।
यहाँ थोड़ा टाइम रखा है इन लोगों ने फोन के लिए, अब लाइन में रहना पड़ता है, तो इसके वजह से हम आ जाए फिर दोबारा बच्चों को हाल चाल पूछने के लिए। उनने ईद बनाया नहीं बनाया, वो खाना खा रहे हैं नहीं खा रहे।
विविधता में एकता, यही हमारी धरोहर है, यही हमारी विशेषता है। भारत की यही डायवर्सिटी हमारी वाइब्रेंट डेमोक्रेसी का आधार है।
Hello and welcome to this special show coming to you from Srinagar tonight. I am Shujaul Haq. It's been 50 days since the major decision of abrogation of Article 370 was taken by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government at this centre. And on his week-long tour to United States, addressing a 50,000 strong crowd at the Howdy Modi event in Houston, Prime Minister championed this historic decision of his government. Ahead of that, he also had an interaction with a 17-member team of Kashmiri Pandits from across the United States. Up next is a report on that meeting with the Prime Minister of these members.
देश के सामने 70 साल से एक और बड़ा चैलेंज था, जिसे कुछ दिन पहले भारत ने फेयरवेल दे दिया है। आप समझ गए? ये विषय है आर्टिकल 370 का। आर्टिकल 370 ने आर्टिकल 370 ने जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख के लोगों को विकास से और समान अधिकारों से वंचित रखा था। इस स्थिति का लाभ आतंकवाद और अलगाववाद बढ़ाने वाली ताकतें उठा रही थी। अब भारत के संविधान ने जो अधिकार बाकी भारतीयों को दिए हैं, वही अधिकार जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख के लोगों को भी मिल गए हैं।
Ahead of this Howdy Modi mega address, the Prime Minister met with a delegation of Kashmiri Pandits.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 7 लाख कश्मीरी पंडित उनकी तरफ से धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच।
आपने जो काम किया है,
आप लोगों ने जो कष्ट झेला है।
The 17-member delegation of Kashmiri Pandits voiced support for the steps being taken by the Modi government in India and submitted a memorandum to the Prime Minister.
What we wanted to do was congratulate him and thank him for the gift he's given us. After 72 years of living under Article 370 and not having the rights that everyone else in India has, he's finally gifted us that back. The ability for us to potentially go back and reclaim our homes, have a land to live with, have occupation jobs, all that is now possible because of his action.
We thanked him on behalf of the 700,000 Kashmiri Pandits all over the globe for such a historic decision. And we assured him that our community will stand shoulder, will work with the government to fulfill your dream for a Kashmir which is peaceful.
देखिए, ये मेमोरेंडम है जिसमें हमारी रिक्वेस्ट है कि कश्मीरी पंडितों की एक एडवाइजरी काउंसिल बनाओ जिससे कि हम गवर्नमेंट के साथ काम करें। जो हमारा जेनोसाइड और एथनिक क्लेंजिंग हुआ उसके लिए हमें जस्टिस मिले और हमें अपना होमलैंड मिले। तो उस मेमोरेंडम में हमने वो उनको दिया है।
He was very friendly, very modest person, and we thanked him profusely, and he in turn overwhelmingly was thanking us for being there, and he wanted our support, and we said that there will be no dearth of it.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency.
Meanwhile, even as the Indian community in the US came out in full force to cheer for the Howdy Modi event at the NRG Stadium on Sunday morning, a relatively smaller group protested against the event outside the stadium.
While the Kashmiri Pandits living in United States have hailed the abrogation of Article 370, India Today's correspondent Ashraf Wani went to Budgam, where some of the members of Kashmiri Pandits still live, and he tried to find out what they actually feel about this move and what their expectations from the Modi government were. Take a look at this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently in the USA and he met a delegation of the Kashmiri Pandits in Houston. We are here in the Sheikhpura area of Budgam district, which is one of the Kashmiri Pandit colonies established by the government in 2008. Ashok ji, the Prime Minister met the delegation of Kashmiri Pandits in the Houston. How much hopeful you are from the commitment and the efforts of the government so far?
Before the Modi come into the power, every Pandit was branded as a Congress. But after Modi came, we got some hopes about Modi that he may do anything. But it is 6 years now. For the last 6 years, we are just hearing that we will be back to Kashmir, but nothing has happened. Now we are hoping it for good, that if we will be returned back.
The Article 370 was abrogated on 5th of August. Have you faced any kind of problem, because most of the Kashmiris are under blockade? There is no mobile service, there is no internet, the schools are not functioning.
Basically, we are in colony. We are just, you can say, we are not going to outside because there is hartal. And we are not just seeing anything. We don't know what is happening outside the state because there is no public transport, nothing at all. And I cannot say we are not facing any difficulty as per the, because locals are here are supporting us in the kind of, they give us vegetables, etc.
आपका नाम?
अर्जुन.
अर्जुन, आप मुझे ये बताइए, आप किस स्कूल में पढ़ते थे और कितने दिनों से आप स्कूल नहीं जा रहे हैं?
मैं डीपीएस में पढ़ रहा हूँ और 1.5 महीने से स्कूल नहीं गया.
तो क्या पढ़ाई मिस कर रहे हो और क्या बता रहे हैं मतलब वहाँ पर टीचर?
हमें तो पेन ड्राइव में काम मिलता है, उससे ज़्यादा कुछ समझ नहीं आता।
अच्छा,
हमें असाइनमेंट मिलता है, अब पेन ड्राइव में बीएड कॉलेज उधर जाना पड़ता है, उधर ही मिलता है काम असाइनमेंट।
तो काफ़ी तंग हो गए हो आप क्योंकि स्कूल नहीं जाना 1.5 महीने से, क्या किस तरह से टाइम पास करते हो?
घर पे ही पढ़ना पड़ता है अब।
अच्छा,
कभी कुछ आता नहीं था वो निकाल सकते थे नेट से, अब इतने टाइम से बंद है तो क्या करूं, पता नहीं अब कब खुलेगा ये।
धारा 370 हटने के बाद आपको क्या लगता है, क्या कुछ आप लोगों के लिए कुछ बदला है?
मैं एक चीज़ बताऊंगा, धारा 370 जब लगा था तब हम पैदा भी नहीं हुए थे, और जब उठा है तब भी हमें कोई पता नहीं है। हम इसके बारे में क्या बता सकते हैं? जब उस टाइम उठाया हमें भी पता नहीं था, जब रातों रात उठा हमें पता था? हम भी अचानक 3 दिन से 2 दिन से ऐसे बैठ कर रह गए कि ये क्या हो रहा है।
जब से कश्मीर में ये धारा 370 हटी है, आम 2 नैरेटिव हैं। कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि कश्मीर में बिल्कुल हालात ख़राब हैं।
नहीं, कश्मीर में कोई हालात ख़राब है, कश्मीर में हालात ठीक है, और इस बारी भगवान की दया से कोई किलिंग नहीं हुई। बहुत अच्छी तरीके से गवर्नमेंट ने इसको अंजाम लाया है, तो बाकी आगे भी ठीक रहेगा, और अभी भी ठीक है सब कुछ।
Normalcy, a word that has been thrown around a lot in last 50 days in Kashmir, a word that has been used to define the ground realities in the valley. But it's a fact that things are far away from normal. There is no internet that is working, mobile phones are not connecting, schools are open but students are not attending these schools. It's been 7th consecutive Friday that we are seeing no Friday prayers that are happening in the Jama Masjid of Kashmir. Many places we're still seeing restrictions that have been imposed. That's why a lot of people ask, is this the meaning of new normal? Take a look at this report.
Everything is fine. Prime Minister Modi on Sunday at the mega event in Houston organized for him went on to voice the sentiment in at least 6 regional Indian languages. He went on to talk about bidding farewell to Article 370, which bestowed special status on Jammu and Kashmir. Something that received a massive applause from the 50,000 strong audience there. Back home, the cheers elicited a response from an unusual voice. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti's daughter Iltija took to her mother's Twitter account to call the displayed jubilation ironic. She says, and I quote, "Ironic that a move ostensibly taken to secure special interests of Jammu and Kashmir gets cheered on everywhere except in the state that it meant to benefit. While people in Kashmir have been gagged, mass hysteria is orchestrated everywhere else to justify this decision." Mehbooba Mufti, along with other former Jammu and Kashmir chief ministers, have been under detention for 50 days now. Not just them, politicians across the spectrum, from Congress to People's Conference, as well as senior members of the PDP and NC, have also been detained. Despite a weak opposition putting up some protests against the detentions and alleged human rights violations in the valley, PM Modi's government has maintained that life is returning to normalcy in the newly bifurcated Jammu and Kashmir. A sentiment reiterated by the Chief of Army.
Clampdown is a facade which is being created by terrorists who don't want things to operate. Now they are saying shops are closed. Yes, in some of the cases the front shutters of the shops are closed. If you are saying that nearly 2 months of clampdown have happened, are we trying to say that the people are going without food and water, without milk, without gas? How are they buying their food? How are they buying their daily needs? From where are they getting it? Because the shops are opening from behind. All shops are opening from behind because the front shutters have been shut down by whom? By the terrorists who are threatening the shopkeepers, because they want to show and project to everybody outside that there's a clampdown.
Yet communication remains patchy within the valley. A month after the dilution of Article 370, Mehbooba Mufti's daughter Iltija had to seek permission to meet her mother. She did get a go-ahead from the Supreme Court of India.
Iltija had petitioned the top court expressing concern over Mehbooba's health. Iltija also claimed that she was not permitted to move out of her house when she was in Srinagar. So far, only Mehbooba's mother and sister were allowed to meet her.
I repeatedly kept filing requests.
And after that electrifying address in Houston, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now in New York to address a high-level climate action summit today, in a highly significant gesture. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is amongst the first set of speakers to address the crucial summit. There you go. The Prime Minister has come. We can see those visuals that are coming in right there. These are the visuals that are coming in live from New York. He is at the United Nations right there. We can see him. Modi is amongst the first set of speakers, remember, to address the crucial summit. The Prime Minister has been assigned the 4th spot after the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, and President of the Marshall Islands, Hilda Heine. Interestingly, only those heads of the states have been chosen who will be announcing positive development in the climate forum. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in a statement also said that those ready to increase their efforts, we want them to speak. There you go, Prime Minister Narendra Modi right there in United Nations, right there in New York. Remember, Brazil, US, Japan have not been invited to the top climate summit. You can see him entering the New York, that iconic building, in fact, in New York. He's inside that iconic building at the United Nations right there. Geeta is now joining us from the newsroom for the very latest. Geeta, those visuals coming in there, what a historic moment as he enters the United Nations, and that, iconic building is what he has entered right now, and what an honor it is for him to be the 4th speaker at the climate summit. In fact, Geeta, US, Brazil and Japan are also not invited to this top climate summit, and you have the Prime Minister of India going to be addressing it very shortly. How crucial is this, Geeta?
Well, it is indeed a very important meeting, an important summit, but more importantly, the fact that United Nations as a world body and the world community attaches so much importance to India and India's work in the sphere of climate change. It was India and the Indian Prime Minister who started and ensured that there was a Paris Agreement. Of course, we saw Donald Trump withdrawing from that agreement after he took office in the United States of America, but the fact is that Paris Agreement is the template, and all countries have been following and looking at this sustainable development goals and how to look at climate, the impending danger that the future generations are in, and how to take things forward when it comes to tackling this huge crisis that faces the world and particularly the planet. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the UN building right now. He will be addressing the Climate Action Summit. It is being hosted by Antonio Guterres, who is the United Nations Secretary General. You're seeing him walk in, taking the escalator up to the room where the Climate Action Summit is going to take place, and he's being flanked on the one side by Syed Akbaruddin, the Indian envoy to the United Nations in New York, and on the other side, actually in fact a few steps behind, is Harsh Shringla, who is the Indian ambassador to the United States of America, based out of Washington DC. This is going to be a very significant messaging by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, wherein he is not only going to talk about what India has done, but a little later you will see him inaugurate those fabulous solar panels that India has gifted to the United Nations building, and that will be that certainly
absolutely.
Is
so,
forward.
Geeta, are we going to also see the Prime Minister go ahead and talk about the looming water crisis that the entire world is going to be facing? Some important developments you reckon will be announced right there? I mean, he's been assigned the 4th spot, and this is right after the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, after the New Zealand Prime Minister and the President of the Marshall Islands as well. Only those head of the states that have been chosen who are going to be announcing positive development coming in from the climate forum. So what do you reckon? What are the kind of announcement that we will see in terms of tackling the looming water crisis globally?
Well, in terms of announcements, they are going to be, this is going to be, Chaiti, a vision statement. It is a vision statement by Prime Minister
There we have
Narendra
Gaurav
Modi.
Sawant, who is joining us live from New York right there. Gaurav, I believe you are being flanked by very pretty ladies in New York. Dia Mirza on your side at this point. Over to you, Gaurav Sawant.
We are at the United Nations in New York, and with me is Dia Mirza. Dia is a Secretary General's Goodwill Ambassador on Sustainable Development Growth. Dia, what brings you to New York? What's happening?
It's been a formidable 2 days. I met the Secretary General yesterday along with my fellow Sustainable Development Goals advocates. It's an enormous opportunity to make a difference for people and the planet.
How do we do that? How do we make this difference to lives of people?
The Sustainable Development Goals are an incredible roadmap. If each and every one of us, institutions, organizations, governments, the private sector and the public sector start adopting the SDGs, I think we can make a remarkable difference. Because the focus is on climate action and the fact that we are facing a climate emergency, I think what we are hoping to achieve in this decade of action is development goals that will combat climate change.
And the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one of the first 5 speakers, and the UN Secretary General said only those who bring a positive agenda to this table should speak, that speaks highly of where India is headed.
I'm very excited and very hopeful, because the fact of the matter is that we are the 2nd largest population in the world, soon to become the largest population. We do occupy a very tiny geographical landmass, and the stress on our natural resources is intense. And we, more than ever before now, need to have transformative, actionable plans that will ensure that we breathe clean air, we drink clean water, and I guess the fundamentals of life that give you dignity and human rights have to become accessible for everyone in our country.
And that is India's goal: clean energy and clean drinking water, Swachh Bharat. That's the focus now.
Yes, and along with that will have to be climate action. We have to secure our forests and wildlife and protect what we have. There's a very powerful mantra that we are following, which is protect, conserve and fund. So fund clean energy, and I think India is leading the way with that, and I'm very optimistic about how much more we can and should do.
Dia Mirza, for the moment, many thanks for speaking to India today. Hope you have a successful meeting here at the United Nations.
Thank you.
With cameraman Kripal Singh at the United Nations, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
Gaurav Sawant joining us right there with Dia Mirza, who is one of the ambassadors of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, also with us right there. If you can see, Prime Minister has just walked into the United Nations headquarters right there. He's inside that iconic building at the United Nations, and he's in a bit about to speak at the Climate Summit as well. It's a huge honor as far as India is concerned. Geeta Mohan with us. Geeta, there's a high pitch going on for renewable energy. Of course, it's all a part of the United Nations SDG, or Sustainable Development Goals as they call it.
Well, it is a very important meeting. The world really is watching at what communities, governments, states and citizens of various countries are really doing. Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, has taken this upon himself to ensure that the messaging is right. He's had a youth climate summit that took place a day ago, where Greta Thunberg and the likes, who are young climate activists, were there to interact not just with him, but the community, the environment community that works greatly on the issue of environment. And now we have the Climate Action Summit that is underway. The first person to be opening this entire ceremony, this entire event, the summit, is the UNSG himself. So Antonio Guterres is speaking right now at the summit, and yes, he will be followed by other leaders, which include Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not going to make major announcements, but primarily is going to talk about a vision statement for India.
Absolutely. Just hold on right there, Geeta. Gaurav Sawant joining us live from New York now, from the United Nations headquarters right there. Gaurav, I'm going to throw straight across to you. You know, this is a very crucial gesture after that electrifying address that we saw in Houston. The Prime Minister is going to be addressing this high-level climate action summit. If you could walk our viewers through all the sustainable development goals that they're going to be talking about, and how significant is this for the Prime Minister, who's amongst the first set of speakers to address this crucial summit?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be amongst the first 5 speakers. I believe he's the 4th speaker, and this is extremely significant because the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres had made one thing very clear. He said only those who come with a positive agenda should be speaking here at the climate summit. So what is it that India brings to the table? India brings to the table lessons that we have learned and lessons that the world can imbibe from India. There are multiple, lessons here. As far as the world is concerned, 30 other countries and more can learn from India. Disaster resilient infrastructure. How do we move forward on that? How do we move forward on solar energy, clean renewable energy? This is one of India's big agenda items here at the United Nations. India is just talking about 100 gigawatts of solar energy. India intends to be the world leader in solar energy. So that's one lesson. India has just done a deal with the United Nations, with the United States of America on LNG from Texas to India. So all of that is something that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be talking about, Chaiti.
Absolutely, Gaurav. We're going to be waiting and watching out for that one. And of course, your minute-by-minute coverage right there, live from the United Nations headquarters in New York as well. With that, it's a wrap from me.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.